Hey YouTube, some guitar videos for a change. So this is Scott's damn, I forgot what it's not an FMT Telecaster, which is very black. You can see it's a fingerprint magnet. I gave it a white literally 30 seconds ago, and it's already shown fingerprints. So not having a good light. Not having a good light day today. There we go there. So this is interesting. After the last, recently I did in the last month or something, I've had USA Fender, I've had Japanese Fender, I've had a Chinese Fender, and now we've got an Indonesian Fender. Yes. So this is, as I said, it's an FMT. I think these pickups are stock. It's got I don't know what, there's Seymour Duncan's in it. 3-way switch, volume and a tone. I'm going to blame somebody else, but I a while ago fitted a push pot on this guitar to split the coils, and it didn't work. Yeah, no, it didn't split this. This was permanently wired as a single coil. Yeah, so I just obviously that's the problem. It's like, see if I'm doing like wiring here, yeah, totally. I'll check it. I was over at Scott's house, like, I'm talking too much rubbish. There you go, done. 2 seconds, test it, bang, bang, bang. There you go, working. Then we end up talking about something else and doing videos or whatever. So never. Yeah, so apologies for that, for this never having a neck humbucker since I fitted that switch. Yeah, so this is, I don't know, it might be a through neck or a set neck with a scoop on it. Kinda, to be honest, the neck reminds me very much of a guitar I'm selling, the Oasis Monolith. Maybe because it's a similar neck join. The guitar body doesn't feel the same, but the neck feels, it's a very similar neck carve. Indonesia, the serial number, in Korea, sorry, not Indonesia. I said Indonesia. So it's a Korean one. There's Indonesian ones as well. So you get Fender, American, Japanese, Chinese, and Korean all in a month or something. Yes, so it's black with this. I'll be honest, don't like it. The look of this fingerboard, it should have a black fingerboard if you're going to go all in, or a white fingerboard maybe. Also no fret markings on it, which makes absolutely zero difference to me playing. Maybe it's different for other people. They the fret markings are for. I don't know if you've ever seen Freddie Mercury at Live Aid playing an acoustic. He kind of like that, where he's actually looking at the fretboard. So it's one of those ovations he's got, which is understandable because they've got a round back on them, so they do tend to sit like that. It's a little bit. I feel a wee bit selfish playing this in a band though, because you're jamming away. It's maybe different if if you've rehearsed and you know exactly what you're doing and stuff. But if you're jamming, working stuff out, it's not very fair on the bass player or any other guitarist if you're playing this, because you're like, here we go, there's this chord. Right, okay, so it's whereas when you've got the dots on it, you can look at it and go, oh, he's on one of the ones with the dots on it, so it's like the 5th or the 7th he's on, so it'll be an A or a D, that kind of thing. You don't get when you don't have any sort of markings. It's still got the markings on the edge, which are vitally important. Without them, you might not know you use them, but when you get a guitar that doesn't have them, it was a left-handed neck I put on something before. I was like, this is great, it played fine. I was like, suddenly, without having that wee spot, which I wasn't even aware I looked at, you look at it, so you know where you are. Yeah, so all black. It's got a sort of contoured top on it. It's quite thin. I don't know. It kind of looks. It's not going to be to have. I don't actually have another Telecaster kicking about. But I can measure it and compare it to that RG, because I think the RG is probably about the same thickness as a normal Tele. So we're cutting in it. Yeah, it's thin. It's only 37mm thick, whereas a normal guitar is. I suppose that's sort of. It's hardly a Telecaster. More like 42 or something like that. So it's half an inch, something like that, thinner. Not half an inch, a quarter of an inch. What was that? This one's really thick when you compare it to. There you go. It's 44. So it's like 6 or 8mm thinner. Like one of your the thin-bodied Squire bullets, or a bit like that. I don't think the thickness of the body makes any difference. So and it's also contoured here as well. So I mean, it feels, not doesn't feel like a mini guitar, but it is quite small. It's got a little bit of that sucked sweetie. You know, it's like a half sucked sweetie thing going on about it. I think it might. I'm sure he said it was. I don't see it. No, it's just black. I'm thinking of my 8-string, which is like if you hold it up to the light at a certain angle, you can see it's an amazing quilt maple below it. I think this is just black. Hardtail, through strung, Telecaster wise, and the fingerboard. It's not rosewood. It's something else. If you're really interested, you'll be able to look it up and see this. But in fact, actually, I looked up to find out what it was. Is there anything? No, there's not enough. And from not on the page I'm on telling you what it is. It'll be, oh, what was the stuff they use? Pau Ferru or something like that. A sort of orangey browny colour. And quite a thick flat, almost it's not a Telecaster neck, more of a heavy metal neck. Maybe that's what FMT stands for. Full metal tele, something like that. As I said, it's not meant to have coil splits on it. They were fitted by me, so. Definitely sounds like something's not plugged in right. Is it now? But the input of my tuner. That's what happens when you plug it properly into the tuner. I wonder if the other reason it feels a bit, it kind of reminds me so much of my Monolith is with the painted black neck and a, well, the other one's got the Monolith's got a painted black neck but a maple fingerboard. Maybe that's something. It's a visual thing rather than being a, you know, something you can actually feel. But when if you can see it, you can feel it. You know, imagine watching someone farting on your dinner. Whether you can taste that person's fart on your dinner or not is not the thing. If you saw them fart on your dinner, you're not going to eat it. You know. So I said, also I think Scott wanted me to fit a treble bleed to this, but I think it might have the wrong pot. I'm not really sure. And I'll do the guitar first. We're already 7 minutes in. I've not even talked about guitar. So I mean, to be honest, it doesn't sound like a Telecaster. I don't think. I have had Telecasters with humbuckers and you split them, but there's too much not tele about it. Outline Telecaster. Still, I think it even says it doesn't say Telecaster on it, but the catalogue it'll have said Telecaster. So I suppose technically it is a Telecaster, but it's a very un-Telecastery. I've had more Telecastery strats than this. Very powerful pickups, even in split coil mode. In the middle position. Massive frets on it. Humbucker neck. With distortion, which is what my humbuckers are for. Pick up humbucker. Not as fast as that though. So what I'm using there is I'm playing through the Orange TH30, and that's a Boss OS2 distortion pedal. Yeah, but I think this I don't know. It's a fun. It's a weird guitar. I don't like it. I mean, technically it's fine. I mean, I think I'm just totally put off by the styling. I don't. It's the whole all black thing. Mostly white guitars. Insert racist jokes here. Black people are all right. No, basically, people can be bastards. It doesn't matter what colour they are. Most people are nice though. Doesn't matter what colour they are. But I'm not a fan of the black guitars. It's kind of like a void of. You can't. I mean, I've got an extra light on and everything. I've got the window open. You still can't see it. It's just a vaguely Telecaster shaped outline and not cleaning the fingerboard. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones where it's good. I used to. This kind of reminds me of a wee bit of a Godin I had. I had a Godin. It was everything about it looked like it would be great. I just didn't. It doesn't do it for me. Which there is a personal thing with all these things. You can sort of kind of make up your mind that you don't like it before you even pick it up, and then, unless it's going to be absolutely fantastic and like, well, I was totally prepared to change my mind on this. Nah. Yeah, I was talking about the treble bleed. So I fixed a treble bleed to this. So here's the volume control, which has got a treble bleed on it. Off. So off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So basically what I'm saying there is it's not doing any different. The volume control only works between like 0 and 4 or 0 and 3. So I don't know whether it's maybe the wrong value of pot that's in it. I didn't change the volume pot when I swapped it over. I will have changed the push-pull one, the tone pot, because it's a push-pull and it wasn't originally in it. So I don't know whether that's the treble bleed that's causing that, or whether it's like an alpha. See, an alpha pot doesn't normally work that way. An alpha pot, like an A instead of a B pot, generally would give you everything between 7 and 10, where it doesn't really do anything up till you get to 7, and then it's like 7 and 10. So which is I've had ongoing online arguments with John Carter, it's you, about whether it should be that way around or not. And it's like I like the volume control to be like, like when you're at 1, it's kind of 10% of the volume. When you're at 5, it's sort of half the volume. When you're at 10, it's full volume. Mad though that may seem. This one doesn't do that, so it might be the wrong value of pot in it. But the stock one maybe for some other reason. Again, maybe this reacts differently if you're playing through a big bank of effects. I'm going to build a guitar that's got a switch on it that turns on and off, puts the treble bleed in and out the circuit to see if I can get around it, because I always feel there's something I like to see when you go from like 10 to 9 on normal volume control, and it's not just the volume maybe doesn't make that difference between 10 and 9, but there's a big brightness, there's a big change in the actual frequency, the actual sound of the guitar between 9 and 10, which for me is great, but that's not necessarily what you want. I suppose if you're like in a pro band or something like that, you want to have exactly the same sound that you've worked on with all your pedals to set up, but you just want it to be slightly quieter. A normal volume control, you're if you're at 10, you turn it down, it becomes less bright. So that I can see the position where that doesn't work. So I'm going to try and work it out, and maybe even make treble bleed kits. I mean, they're like, you can buy them for like, I don't know, £2, £3 or something like that. But that's like that's using like 20 pence worth of components. So I'm pretty sure I've got capacitors, and it's also whether a treble bleed kit you get. It's like a capacitor and a resistor. They're not always a capacitor and a resistor. For example, the PGM, it's just a capacitor. So I've got bags of capacitors. I've probably got ones that are the same, so I can probably fit them for, instead of paying, treble bleed, it's bargain, it's only £4 or whatever it is, or 500 delivered. It's like, yeah, I can probably just get it for like 50p or something. Don't know. Hey little sister, why can't you see? So 1 out of 10. Dick Scott gave me 1 out of 10 for the wave, but I think there's probably an element of that. He didn't like that before he even picked. As soon as he looked at it, it was like, it was going to be a maximum of 2 anyway. It's kind of a little bit. I feel a bit that with this as well. It's like it's only a personal taste thing. I don't want to be. If you've got one of these, and technically, if you like the look of it and it's your thing, then I can. Technically, perfect. It's fine. It's great. I find it thoroughly uninspiring. It's good. It's actually good. Too. I doing videos of guitars that I don't really like. It's you know, I mean, it's easier to. I don't mind doing guitars that I don't really like that I've got. But then again, the problem with that is though, if I've bought a guitar that I don't really like, I try and sell it. So me doing a video of it saying I don't really like it, it's not really the best way of doing it. I have done that lots of times. You know what I mean? Doing a video saying a guitar's pure. I just can't lie. It's like, if I can try and say I'm not going to say this guitar's pure amazing and I love it. If I don't, I can't do that. That's just lying, isn't it? What I would do is I would only tell you the good things about it and just admit the fact that I didn't like it. Whereas this one, I don't like not having dots on the fretboard either. Not for me. I mean, it doesn't matter. I don't use them. But for somebody else that's in the band with you, or if I was in a band with somebody who had this guitar, it'd be like, oh, for fuck's sake, going to put marks on it so I can at least go. No, we're coming up to the bit, right? Okay, I'm going to come in on this D chord. And it's like, what? Where are you? Where are you? It's like, are you on the? There you go. Here's a chord there, and you're like, you're right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right. Whereas if you've got the dots, you're going like up here. Well, the dot would be there, so you go, okay, he's one up from there. You know, it's like one dot, 2 dot there. Okay, D sharp or E flat. That's the note. Rocking, not there in this guitar. Yeah, I mean it's alright, I suppose. If it's your thing, I think it's actually worth quite a lot of money. Technically wise, it's like having a Korean fender. It's not as good as a Japanese one. That straight up. But I don't think I've yet to come across a Korean guitar that's as good as when I say a Japanese one, I've had some shit Japanese ones from the early ones where they're like not the same. But once the Japanese knew what they were doing, so you're talking sort of the big makes from the sort of mid-70s, and then by the time you get to the sort of the early 80s, all the makes of Japanese guitar are all at a certain level, quality wise. But compared to a modern guitar, it's good. You know, like your Chapmans and PRSSEs and all that. So it's in that range. It's a good one of them. Like my fill. It's actually very like fill. The neck isn't my thing either. It's very in the middle, not to offend anyone. It's like, whereas I like a really thin neck, a really fat neck, a triangular shaped neck, something with character. This is zero. I think the guitar, I think it's got zero character. So enough done here bitching about Scottish guitar. And saying that, if you look up there, I did invent an entire new genre of music using this guitar, and it had to be specifically this guitar, because it was better at the new genre of music, but it was quite a short-lived thing. I might have put the video out before this. I've just recorded it there, and it didn't go full circle, start to finish. You know, it's like pure. It's pretty rare that you get such a video that just covers an entire revolution of music in one go. You know, it's like normally it's like pure like the skiffle era. Okay, there was a skiffle era, and you don't really get skiffle anymore, but it must have started in, I don't know, the late 50s, and then it was kind of dead by 1962. So it's like 4 or 5 years, yeah, totally. And then it didn't exist anymore. Whereas everything else is kind of as endured as like rock and roll. It's like you never didn't get rock and roll, and I'm not talking about. Ozzy used to go, yeah, rock and roll. It's like, yeah, arguably, I'm not going to be saying that, Ozzy Osbourne's solo career was rock and roll. For me, rock and roll is, Quiff's, Elvis, 50s rock and roll. But that never stopped anyway. I mean, there's always been 50s rock and roll. People always listen to it. There's always bands playing. There's always bands that are kind of quite high up doing a sort of 50s rockabilly rock and roll thing. Whereas my new genre, gone. Flash in the pan, gone. No one's even played it since yesterday. And I don't think anyone ever will again. Yeah, so there you go, an actual guitar video rather than one being out in the car or having a camera on my head. Carved top, very, very streamlined and stuff. With either a through neck or a deep set neck, what they call it, a set through, where the neck maybe comes into here somewhere in below the pickup before it's glued in. I think that it might be that. If it was going to be a through neck, which one of the issues I've always had with this guitar, it's a through neck, but the one that's cheaper than that, the Falcon, it's not been painted, so you can see like the 5-piece neck running, the entire length of the body, and you can go, oh, it looks a through neck, look all the way through. Whereas that, you paint it, you're like, because that's what that is. It's the same, a very similar guitar. It's like, I'm going to have a through neck. I want to be able people at the back of the hall to go, look, I've got a through neck. Good. What's the point in having it if you're not going to see it? I'm not convinced that the best neck join isn't a bolt-on neck, though, to be honest. Okay, I suppose you can argue you can maybe get up to the last fret a little bit easier with that for 5-fret access, and I understand the thought process of it. Sounds very romantic and good. It's like pure, yeah, well, what you've got here is you've got the strings anchored through the same piece of wood as they are at the top, so there's one piece of wood that these are joined to. Assuming imagine this is a through neck. Not sure. I'm not sure that you really lose anything by having two bits of wood screwed together really tightly. I suppose you do get. I mean, I have had like a bad neck pocket and like a bad join before, which I'm talking about like one that fits properly and is properly bolted on. I still think I like a bolt-on neck. Leo got it right. Well, then maybe that's what it is. So you get a Telecaster, which in many ways is the perfect guitar, and then you keep evolving it, and you end with this, and you kind of evolve too far. Just wind it back a little bit. I like having this sort of thick, awkward workman-like thing. This is kind of like a sort of girly Telecaster, maybe. Yeah, we go. Have I done enough slagging off a Scots guitar? What I'm going to do is I'm going to fucking make that wave work properly and make him take his words back. The strings are arranged and it's got a Wonder Bra on it, which is worth more than the guitar. So that Wonder Bra's coming off. It's basically only on there because at one point it had a Caller, which are also fucking rubbish, which is like a Caller like that. So there's a big hole sort of to work out some way of getting around it. So rock on, catch you later, and watch the Squonk Revolution video, which is either at the end here somewhere or it was on 10 minutes before it. Catch you later. I've got lots of guitars to do this afternoon.